Welcome. I'm Kim, coming to you from the beautiful La Romana area in the Dominican Republic. I'm so glad you're joining me today for this flexibility and balance class. You know, have you ever had times where you felt like you just were kind of beating yourself up and not truly accepting yourself? I hope today is one of those days where you change that story in your mind and you know that just by virtue of the fact that you're here taking this class today, that you accept yourself and really approve of yourself much more. So for today's class, we're going to need a chair, have a strap or a belt would suffice, and of course, always have water nearby to hydrate. So let's get started with some balance, simply by taking your feet a little wider than your hips and beginning to shift your weight from one foot to the other. Just a very gentle, moving from side to side, really feeling the weight in one leg before you shift your weight to your other leg. So just playing with that sense of balance. When we begin to operate from this place, we not only are strengthening our legs, but it's a lot of wonderful core work as well. So as you're shifting your weight, think about rolling your shoulders back and down. You can do that a few times, rolling those shoulders up to your ears and back down your back body. Feel those shoulder blades sliding down your rib cage. And mindful of taking some full breaths to release any tension, any knots in your shoulders, or anywhere else that you might feel a little kinked up today. Take a few more of these, just rocking from side to side, feeling steadiness in your body. One more each side. All right, roll out your wrists. Let's get some flexibility in our joints. Our fingers, our wrists really take a lot of work each day. They do a lot of work for us. So we want to give them some kindness and love in return. Let's switch directions, rolling the other way. And one more wrist stretch that might feel good is to bring your hands together. And then as you roll your hands, the back of your hands will meet. And you'll feel that stretch likely in your forearms and the back of your arms. And we'll just take that a couple times. Coming back to prayer hands. And then rolling it forward, back of your hands meet. Twice more. And shake out your hands, shake out your feet, your legs. Now I'm wearing shoes today. You're always welcome to take your shoes off if that feels more comfortable for you. So holding on to the chair, let's continue to work on some balance and flexibility for hips. So lifting your knee and then rotating it out to the side. And let's do that a few times. Lifting your knee and rolling it out to the side. Just moving at your pace, at your comfort level. As always, keeping your chest lifted, your spine nice and long. Beautiful posture. And let's change direction. So lifting your knee and rotating it inwards. As you draw your navel in and up, it might even feel like you're zipping up a zipper. That's developing that core strength to help us to walk taller, to stand taller, to feel more accepting of who we are and where we are. Giving yourself that kindness. One more. All right, wonderful. While we're here, let's go ahead and step that same leg straight behind for a calf stretch and a hip opener. So lifting your heel off the floor and then lowering it back toward the earth. It doesn't matter how high you lift it or how low it gets to the floor, just moving at your pace as always. So I'm here acting as a guide for you, but please be mindful that you are your first teacher. Feel what feels best in your body, not just because I say it, but because it does feel good, and modify whenever and wherever you need to. Oh, that feels so good in my calf and my hip. I hope you're feeling that nice yummy stretch in yours as well as we continue to work and increase our flexibility today, getting out tension and tight muscles. Let's take 2 more. Step that foot forward and just rock your hips from side to side. Rocking those hips. All right, this next balance pose I call balancing star. So you can choose to start with a chair. I'm going to do that. So shifting your weight into your standing leg that's close to the chair, and then taking your other leg, floating it off the mat up toward the sky. You can bring that same arm, you can keep it on your hip or reach it up, your thumb face up to the sky. It could be shoulder height, or if it's appropriate for your shoulders, taking that arm a little higher. Now this creates a lot of stability with holding onto the chair. We've got our standing leg is very firm, our core is very firm. But if you're feeling comfortable and want to play with it, maybe you're taking your opposite arm off the chair, those thumbs still face up, stretching your fingers really wide. Feeling confident in your balancing star. Taking a couple more breaths. And coming down when you feel complete. And perhaps rocking those hips from side to side once again. You may feel your heart rate increasing just a bit. That's normal when we're doing some activity like this. All right, I'm going to switch the side of the chair, and while I'm doing that, perhaps take a sip of water. Remember to stay hydrated throughout your day. So let's take that same sequence on this side. We began by shifting our weight from one leg to the other. Just feeling that you're really moving through both legs equally. And then as we take a hold of our chair, let's begin to switch the balance to one leg. So shifting your weight into your standing leg that is closest to your chair, lifting your opposite knee and making some big circles. Lifting that knee and big circles. And ensuring your spine is nice and long, navel is drawn to spine, because that core strength is really what's necessary for our balancing poses and for our beautiful posture. Beautiful. Let's take one more. Let's switch directions now. So lifting out to the side and back up to the center. See if you can keep your hips level and your shoulders level as you move. Again, the pace is irrelevant. Move at the pace and speed that suits you. Couple more. That feels really good, and rocking from side to side. Now let's go ahead and face our chair and get those calf stretches as well as a hip opener. So we have this muscle called a psoas. It connects basically in your middle back. It comes behind your belly button to your inner thigh. So often we can feel a tightness in our hip flexor, that psoas muscle. So this stretch I really love for getting some space into that psoas. So taking your heel straight back behind you, holding on to the edges of the chair, lifting and lowering your heel. Again, at your pace. It's not how high you lift that's important. It's not whether you can get your foot to the earth that's important. What's important is just that you move safely and comfortably. Oh, I don't know about you, but I needed this stretch today. It feels really yummy in my body. And as we're working and remembering how important self-acceptance is, know how good this class is for us in all parts of our body. Building flexibility, creating some space, and working on that balance that's not only important in our bodies but our minds. Let's take 2 more. Wonderful. And just rock your hips from side to side before we take our balancing star pose. So shifting your weight back into your standing leg that's closest to your chair. And then with your hand on your hip, beginning to take your opposite leg out to the side. You get the idea of making a star pose here, right? So perhaps you want to reach your arm out to the side with your thumb face up to the sky, stretching your fingers wide. Again, keeping your navel drawn in because strong core will help us balance. If it's available to you, maybe taking that arm up a little bit more, keeping your collarbones broad, chest open. And if you're feeling like you'd like a little bit more challenge, perhaps taking your arm, hand off the chair, thumbs face up. Arms can be straight out into a T, or again, you could play with lifting those arms a little bit more, feeling like that shining star that you are. Take a couple more breaths. And whenever you're complete, coming back down, rock out those hips or make some hula hoop circles. Ah, that feels wonderful. Take it the other direction. All right, a little flexibility and stretch for our upper body. Just going to move my chair off to the side a tad. All right, so for this one, interlace your hands and inhale, sweeping up to your heart. And as you exhale, push toward me. Bend your knees slightly, keeping your chest lifted, weight in your heels. Inhale, stretch up to the sky, and exhale back down. We'll do that a few times. Inhale up to heart. Exhale, push forward, weight in your heels, chest lifted. Inhale, stretch up, and exhale back down. 2 more rounds. Inhale to heart. Exhale, push. Inhale, reach. Exhale it back down. And last one. All right, we're going to change that same move up just a tad. So this time, inhale up to your heart. As you exhale, push down and to your right, getting a lateral opening through your ribs. And then inhale, scoop it back up to your heart. And we'll do the same thing the other side. Exhale, push down and to your left, getting a lateral stretch. And inhale back to heart. Keep repeating that. Scooping down and out to the side. And scooping back up to your heart. Push down, open up your side body. Oh, that feels yummy. And draw it back to your heart. One more each side. All right, let's take some coat sleeves, which I like to call is a funny name. You can imagine you've just got a huge raincoat on and your arms are in these big sleeves, and you're simply going to let your arms flop from side to side. It's an easy standing twist. So I'm not trying to control the motion, just letting your arms flop wherever they may. Back heel lifts off the earth as you twist. And again, as always, the pace. Make it what feels right for you. All right, shake out your feet. Coming back to mountain pose, which is a pose that just helps us feel steady. So feel the 4 corners of your feet connected to the earth. You might want to rock a little forward onto the balls of your feet and back onto your heels. Finding that middle spot where you feel really balanced in your 2 soles. Now staying in mountain, I'm just going to turn and face the chair so you can see me. And I'm going to offer this invitation to lift your heels. And if you're doing that with me, you can feel your core really kick in. You can feel your abdominal muscles. You can feel your glutes, your legs really kicking in. And let's lower our heels back down. And perhaps do that a few times, lifting up onto the balls of your feet. Your heels come off the earth. And lowering back down. And twice more, lifting up and lowering back down. One more. Wonderful. Strengthening those calf muscles as well as getting a nice stretch. All right, let's move into figure 4 pose. And I'm going to take my ankle onto my standing knee. And this could also be done in a chair if that feels better to you. So flexing your foot and holding on to the side of our chair for balance. Keeping your chest lifted so we're not rounding forward, keeping your chest lifted. It's not how high or how deep you bend your standing knee. Maybe you're here, that's fine. Stay where you're at. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see where we're moving into this next stretch. Take a few more breaths in our standing figure 4. Working on that flexibility through our IT band and hip. And then moving into a balancing pose. So take that same leg and take it straight back, holding on to the edges of your chair. So we're keeping our hips squared down. It's not important how high you lift that standing leg or that floating leg. Your foot, your toe could even be on the floor. So that is absolutely fine. Just shifting your weight into your front leg, back toes down or lifted. Keeping your hips squared toward the floor. Take a few more breaths. And lower down. I'm going to switch the chair so that we can do that same thing on the other side. So now, taking your opposite ankle onto your knee for our figure 4 stretch, bending your knee as little or as much as feels good to you. Your weight is in your heel, and flex your top foot. That'll protect your knee. Keeping chest lifted, and bonus points for putting a smile on your face. Accepting yourself where you are today. I'm glad you're here with me in the Dominican Republic with this beautiful background. Take a couple more breaths before we take it into our balance pose. Although this is a balance pose as well, isn't it? You can feel the balance and the flexibility stretch here. All right, so as I turn sideways, we're going to take that leg and take it straight back for balance on this front leg. Now remember, you have an option to bring those toes down to the earth, still balancing, or playing with taking your foot off the earth. If you're doing that, point your 5 toes down toward the earth, collarbones broad, and breathing. You got this, working those glutes as well as working on balance. It's all important. All right, releasing out and just take those coat sleeves once again. We're going to be finding our way down to the earth for a few more stretches before we finish our class today. So whenever we come down to the earth, we want to come down super careful and mindfully. So holding on to the edge of the chair and lowering one knee and lowering the other knee. And I'm just going to move my chair back a little bit more. Here's where we're going to use our strap, or you could use a belt, anything that you can loop around your leg. So as we mindfully come down onto the earth, go ahead and bend your right knee and place the strap around the bottom of your right foot. And then take your right foot up toward the sky. Taking the right foot up to the sky, your left leg, you can keep it bent with your foot on the floor, or some people like to straighten their left leg, so your choice. See if it feels better bent or straight. And just keeping your right hip, your left hip grounded as much as you can. And you can play with drawing your toes towards your head, depending on how tight your hamstrings, the back of your legs are. See if you can relax your shoulders any amount as you get this nice stretch through the entire back of your leg. And I'm looking at the camera to see you, but see if you can avoid moving your head from side to side as you're here. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now, still with the strap around the bottom of your foot, hold both ends of the strap in your right hand and take your right leg out to the side. While you're doing that, I like to keep my left hand on my hip just to remind me to keep it down. So it may pop up just a little bit, but for the most part, keep that left hip down here. And still with your right foot flexed and your left foot flexed, feeling that stretch. Still in the back of your leg. You might feel it in your inner thigh as well. A couple more breaths here. And let's bring our leg back up to center, and we're going to switch sides. So take the strap into your left hand and bringing it across your body. Before you do that, take your right thumb into your right hip crease and press your hip forward. Then draw your toes towards your left shoulder. Oh, can you feel that? I always feel that right in my IT band. The IT band is outside of your thigh, so it's a really nice stretch for that area that's kind of hard to access. So stay here. Maybe you take it a little bit more into the twist. It's not important how far you go. Wonderful. Still with the strap around the bottom of my foot, I'm going to roll onto my side and take my foot behind me for a quad stretch. If your foot is accessible, you're welcome to draw your foot in, holding your shoe or your foot. We're using that strap. Let's just take a few breaths here. Roll your top shoulder back and down, getting a stretch in your chest, your pectoral muscles as well. Wonderful. Let's come on to our back. We're going to switch the strap to our left foot now. So stretching your left leg up to the sky. Again, you've got that option to keep your right knee bent, or you can straighten your right leg onto the floor, wherever you're at. See if you can find some space in your shoulders and the back of your neck. Again, you can play with drawing your toes towards your head if your hamstrings are a little bit more open. Or you can play with taking your leg away from you if you need that space as well. So you decide where you feel best to feel that stretch. All right, taking the strap into your left hand and taking your leg out to your left side. Any amount, it's not important how far you go. What's more important is that you keep your hips down for this stretch. So we don't want our right hip popping off the floor. Keeping it down, take a few more breaths. And bringing your leg back up through center, switch the strap to your right hand. Placing your left thumb in your left hip crease, press that hip forward, and then bring your toes towards your right shoulder. Take a few breaths here. Again, feeling it in the IT band, on the outer edge of your thigh, your hip. And let's get that quad stretch. So rolling onto your side, drawing your foot back. You can use your strap here. Roll your shoulder open. And then come on to your back. This last little move that we'll do is called waterfall. It's a gentle inversion, simply taking your feet, legs up to the sky. You could use a strap here if you'd like to feel the stretch, but otherwise just let it be a nice passive, easy pose, easy stretch. Feel your low back pressing into the earth, your spine just releasing into the earth. Relax your shoulders. A few more breaths. Beautiful. Release the strap And come to a seat. Come to a seat as I read to you this final quote by Louise Hay. You've been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. You're worth it. I'm Kim. Thank you again for joining me today from the Dominican Republic. I look forward to seeing you again soon.